Welcome to the Strategies for Success Online Summit 2015. I am so excited. Let me introduce myself. I am your host, Gina Battye. To celebrate the launch of my new course, which is called Discover Your Direction, I decided to reach out to 7 experts from around the world to have conversations about the things that keep you up at night. So listen, I'm not here to live by half measures, and I know that you don't want to either. For all you persistent, determined, strong, and confident women out there, I know you will resonate with this, and this summit is for you. Let's get straight to it. If you're unsure where you're heading and you're looking for guidance on how to figure that out, and if you want to figure out why you're here and your purpose in life, and you want to know how to wrap the things that you're passionate about around your vision and your purpose, and you want to get your hands on strategies to keep you focused and to feel fulfilled, this is where you need to be. Look at me. I used to be a UK size 16, which is a US size 12. I turned my life around by focusing on 3 areas. The first was mastering my body. The second was mastering my self-belief and my mindset. And the third was mastering my mission and purpose in life. As you can see, I've gone through quite a transformation, not only physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually too. My work focuses around personal mastery, specifically focusing on those 3 areas: body mastery, self-belief mastery, and mission and purpose in life. I work with strong and confident women, where I'm a high-performance personal mastery coach, best-selling author, and one of the UK's leading public speakers. So what is personal mastery? Personal mastery is about being persistent in effort and stubbornly tenacious in attitude. It's not about being perfect every day. As I said, it's about being persistent and stubbornly tenacious. It's about being focused and determined and believing in yourself and believing that anything that you dream about, you can make happen. I am so excited to bring you 8 mastery experts from around the world, and they will all be under your roof. I'm bringing to you strong and confident people who work every day to master themselves and their craft. They know to their very core that personal mastery isn't a one-time investment, a quick fix, or a short-term goal. They know it is a lifelong investment. If you're truly working on personal mastery, is there ever a finishing line to that? My answer would be no, there's never a finishing line to it. There may be pauses where things are going great and you demonstrate that you're skillful at mastering situations and events in your life. If you go back and reflect on your life, even the most strong and confident people feel like they're getting kicked in the gut and are challenged to get back up at certain points in time. And at those points, it requires new skills to master that moment, that new kind of moment that you're experiencing. In my experience, it takes a minimum of 3 months for you to be able to take something new, be it a new skill, a new technique, or a new strategy, and to put it into place and start to see some changes. These new skills, techniques, and strategies are exactly what we're going to tackle in my new course, Discover Your Direction. More about that later on. The aim of the summit is to pull back the curtains on personal mastery and explore life-changing teachings that will set you up for success. So who will you hear from? I am talking to Michelle Cameron Coulter, Olympic gold medalist, about discovering your passion. I'm talking to Glenn Morshower, one of the busiest character actors in Hollywood. We're talking about alignment and intuition. I'm talking to Sharon Lecter, the genius behind the Rich Dad brand and currently partnered with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. We're talking about vision and living a life of significance and success. I'm talking to Dr. Bill Dorfman, celebrity dentist and New York Times best-selling author. We're talking about goal setting, masterminding, and leadership. I'm talking to Roz Savage, MBE, who holds 4 world records for ocean rowing and is the first woman to row solo across 3 oceans. We're talking about courage and collective consciousness. I'm talking to Eric Swanson, award-winning speaker and success coach, about productivity and habits for success. And last, but certainly not least, I am talking to Dr. Gina Battye, best-selling author of numerous books, law of attraction expert, and featured in the movie The Secret. We're talking about overcoming procrastination. There's a special bonus for you too. To celebrate the launch of my new course, Discover Your Direction, I'll be hosting a live webinar. We'll be talking about discovering your direction and explore the key learnings from the summit. Be sure to check in with all the conversations. You will learn something from every single one, I promise you. It is my mission to invite people around the world to step into their power. I offer you that invitation now to step up and realise your full potential. I invite you into our world, into our lives, where you'll hear from 8 mastery experts. What we have to share with you will start you on your journey to realising your full potential. Ask yourself, here and now, are you all in? If you are, let's go. Let's do this. I am super excited to welcome Michelle Cameron Coulter. Let me introduce you to her. You can see her on screen right now. Hi, Michelle. Hey. So Michelle Cameron Coulter grew up in a family of 10 children. I cannot even begin to imagine what that was like. She learned very early on about teamwork, being resourceful, and always finding a way very early on. She overcame being a very sickly child and her extreme fear of the water to realise her dream, and competed in the 1988 Seoul Olympics, winning an Olympic gold medal in synchronized swimming. Michelle is a 6-time world champion and swam on the Canadian team for over 10 years. She became the first ever Albertan to win a Summer Olympic gold medal and was inducted into Alberta and Canadian Halls of Fame and International Aquatic Sports Hall of Fame. This is just an incredible summary of things that you've been doing, Michelle. Michelle was also awarded the prestigious Order of Canada. When was that?
I think that was 1991.
1991, wow. Now, Michelle has a very keen entrepreneurial spirit, which I've observed firsthand. Her company, Gold Medal Inspirations, now their mission is to inspire all to embrace their full potential. She speaks openly and honestly about overcoming challenges, digging deep, and sharing tangible success tools. She's been sharing her message and inspiring companies and organisations to step into their greatness, both locally and around the world, for over 20 years. Michelle is currently working on her new book, Sink, Swim or Float, The Courage to Jump In and Make Our Splash. And we'll be hearing more about that in just a few moments. Michelle, it is so great to have you with us. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you.
I'm so excited to have you with us. So today we're going to be talking about discovering your passions, overcoming challenges and digging deep. But before we delve into all of that, take us through your journey. Tell us about your backstory.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And that's where this has really stemmed from so much. Like you mentioned about me growing up in a blended family of 10 kids. And
wow.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy. It was awesome. It was, lots happening all the time. But my mom had said, the earth is 2/3 water. You're going to come into contact with it. So you have to learn how to swim. It's a life skill. She had,
I love that.
And she witnessed one of her cousins drown. So it was like, not a nice thing. And so it's like, it's a life skill. So you have to learn. And I was so afraid of the water. I actually failed my first level of swimming 4 times. Like, it was just like, so when we talk about natural talent, we don't really know what we're capable of until we get past those fears. And it was funny because my 4th attempt, there was a little boy in my class and he kept jumping in and turning around and grabbing onto the side. We had to jump in the deep end. She said, "You better not do that, or one of these times you're going to hit your chin." Well, who went next to me? 4 stitches down the bottom of the pool.
Oh no.
It's not working. But the irony was, when that happened, it was pivotal because, I'm at the bottom of the pool and all of a sudden this relaxing feeling came over me. And I don't know why they call it the dead man's float, because when you actually relax, you float to the surface. And that was the beginning of kind of letting go of that part of it. And then I just never kind of looked back from there. I didn't even find my sport until I was 13 years old. My sister and I tried out for a club at the same time, and you only had to be able to swim a couple lengths at that point. I was 13 and she was 12, and I made the club, but they're like, that's way too old to start. And I'm like, well, most of the girls have been swimming 5-6 years already. So I had these amazing role models, and, that it was just like, how do they do that? I want to be able to do that. And that really catapulted me up a lot faster and then my age, I went into the next age group quickly because I was too old to stay in that age group,
Yeah.
and made the team. And it wasn't because I was good enough, it's because they needed another swimmer. So that's
I don't believe that for a moment.
oh, it truly was. And it was interesting because I look back at that journey, like I never ever swam to try and beat somebody else. It was to do better than I did before, and the results started to come. So I
Okay.
look at that little girl who would have never dreamt to have gone as far as the Olympics, let alone, stand at the top of the podium, had I not got past those fears. So now it's like
incredible.
Yeah, and it's now, so that was, I was 25 at Olympic. Now you'll figure out my age very quickly.
But nobody's doing any math right now. Nobody.
I use odochlorine.
Promise.
But to be able to take the lessons I learned through sport into nowadays life, we have, 4 children that are all very active in sport because they love it, and not because, they feel like they have to do it. I think that being active and participating in something and being on teams is fantastic. My husband is also an Olympian. He was on our national volleyball team for 13 years and
wow.
played in 2 Olympic games. And so we were both late bloomers in sport. And so to have our kids involved is wonderful because they love it and do what they love. And I have so many stories about that, but I'll share one really quick that's quite cute.
Yeah.
Our youngest one, I had one of our daughters did synchro until high level, until grade 10, and they were going up to 25 hours a week training. She decided she wanted to try something else new. But before that, the little one was like, I want to try synchro too. And she tried it for about 2 weeks. She goes, oh, Jacqueline makes it look too easy. She goes, is it okay if I go to the Olympics in a different sport? And I'm like, honey.
You can go in any sport, whatever.
And you don't have to go to the Olympics. It's just as much as we, consciously don't want to have that pressure on. We don't know what the interpretation of those around us are, but I just thought it was so priceless. I said, you don't have to go there. Oh, really? Isn't that just what we do? Like,
isn't what life's all about?
Yeah. They're surrounded by, people that are, by athletes and people that are active and just going for what it is that they want. So it was great. It was cute.
That is really cute. I find it so fascinating, right, that you had all these fears about getting into the water, yet look at what you've overcome. That is just incredible.
And I talk about that, and that's why, the book being called Sink, Swim, or Float, because that sink is, whenever there's something new and there's that sinking feeling, like I know even yourself, Gina, and everyone listening has come to a point where they're, they want to try something new, and it's that fear of it. And that's a normal thing to have that. And it's like how we use that. So once we go, okay, like how many new things have we tried? Like every time before I get up and speak or talk at something, I have this feeling of whatever, but that's a good thing because it means something to you, right?
Yes,
and to step into that. And once we kind of let go of it being an overwhelming fear to an energizing energy to let go and do it, just know that that's normal, and then the swim part is creating that momentum, like the resources around us that we need, the support system, the coaches, the team to help us so we're not thrashing through it. Right?
Okay, cool.
When I was talking about having mentors, like our mentors that, I watched how they did it. It's like when we try anything new, it's like somebody who's done it before, how do they do it? And how can we, create that momentum and that swim around it? And the last part of it being float, because enjoying that journey, like we can't just go full on. We need to enjoy the process. And sometimes when we float, we look at things from a different perspective. Like if you've ever floated down a river or something, you see things that you would never see before. And when we take that time, we can kind of go, oh, well, I never thought of that. I never saw that. Or maybe if I try it this way, to enjoy that part of it, because we can't just go full blast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
that sounds exciting.
Yeah, and then I love the splash part because it's fun, right? And splash is messy. It's not about perfection.
Yeah.
I always do. I say I'm a recovering perfectionist because coming from a sport that's so about perfection, it's like you want to prepare and know you've done everything you can to do your best, but then there's a point that you have to let go and trust and know that you've got the pieces together to do it. Yeah.
That sounds and I love your whole journey. I can see how it all pieces together, and I'm super excited to read your book. So please let us know when it comes out. I know you're still in the writing stages at the moment. So I'll connect everybody in the links below so everybody can find out when it's available. And yeah, we're all very excited to read that and to hear more, I know. So talk to me about what happened after the Olympics. How did you step into the work that you're doing now?
You know, it kind of gradually came. I was doing, after winning the medal, it was like I was invited to do so many different things along the way. And keynoting was like, will you speak at this event? And I never had spoken at anything before. I never been like scared to death going, oh, what do I have to say that anybody's going to want to hear? And I think the first big company I spoke at was 3M. And I kind of went, yeah, that's when I really realized the principles for achieving in sport or life or anything are all the same. Like it's the same foundation. And so I have done that for many years now and around team building, et cetera, and stepping into playing a bigger picture. But then I got to a point too where I wanted to more than, get people excited for that hour and talk about possibilities. It was just like, how do we actually start changing the way we think and the things that we do on a daily basis and change those habits? And then it's not this massive thing, it's little things over time. So started to create programs that then would help move, okay, what is it that inspires you? What is it that gives you goosebumps? What is it that makes you feel alive and on purpose and want to get up in the morning, to help you discover that? And then once you've discovered that, how do we create that support system to take you along the journey to get there? Because there are ups and downs. Like there's times when you, like that said, I want to throw in the hat and is this worth it? Or we doubt ourselves or our abilities, and that's just, we get into a dark place, and believe me, I've been there. And how do we get out of those places? So to, have the tools and the support systems around to be able to do that. So I've created a program around that, and also creating masterminds. So I take small groups of people who are committed to, they know that there's more that they want to do, and to help identify and clearly identify what that is, and then work with them over the year in this small group so that they have accountability partners, so that they are, encouraged through the ups and downs and given the tools to help, make momentum. Because I don't know about you, but I realize like how fast a year goes by. Boom, it's gone. It's like, okay, which I want to
Absolutely.
I actually get it done. And then I added a really fun twist to it too, because, I talk about achieving gold medal results, but it just sounds so, it's so intense and so big. And I added a part to it called nap, snack, and play our way to gold medal results.
Love it.
Like, when as children, when did we stop napping and snacking? You think when kids are growing up, it's like, oh, you need a nap. Oh, you need a snack.
Wow.
When we enjoy that process, like even Carolyn and I, my duet partner at the Olympics, our motto was like, we worked hard before we went out and swam. It's like, okay, let's have fun. Let's enjoy this. So it's like if we could tie those parts in to creating that momentum and the changes that we want to see in our life and really enjoying that process, those are really important components to it. So
Absolutely. Now, you were talking about discovering your passions. Let's delve into that a little bit. How do you discover your passion?
Well, you know what? And the first thing is like taking the time. When do we slow down enough to kind of go, you know what? Just what really gives me goosebumps? What makes me tick? What gets me excited? And to kind of sit down and go through this process. I actually, one of the things I love doing is collecting the best tools that I can find out there, because I know that finding our passion is key to our success formula. And I did a lot of research, and there was an organization that developed something called the Passion Test. And I got certified to do the Passion Test, to go through and have those tools to do it. So it actually takes you through a process where, it's kind of like a inspiring, I want to say brain dump, but it is okay, what are all the things, if you were to go through every area of your life that charges you up, that you just love doing? And then we go through a process that helps identify like clearly what your top 5 passions are. And it takes you out of your head to what you think you should be doing, or what everybody else thinks you should be doing, to drop you into your heart. And we go through this whole process to take you to that place and like really anchor to your core. Like when I talked about what gives you goosebumps, what makes you really feel like you're, like you're lit up. And when we go through the process of narrowing it down to those 5, and you read them, it's just like, okay. And then it was like, and then we go through, what does it look like if you were living that at a 10 and describing it super clearly to what it is, and then being able to identify what it takes to get there. And then that's when we kind of map out, okay. And then the secret to creating and living a passionate life is when we're faced with choices or obstacles or things come our way, choose something or make a choice in the direction of your clearly identified 5 passions.
Okay.
So we clearly identify what those are.
Yeah.
Define what that actually looks like. And it was really neat going through the process myself too, being able to be certified. It's like a full 4-day certification program. Is that I really got super clear on what mine were. And it's like to see what shifted, because it was just like, when you get places of going, oh, which way should I go? And what's the right thing? You just stop, get centered with yourself and kind of go, does this fit with what are the most important things to me? And if it doesn't, then it's an easy no. And if it does, then it's an easy yes. And then we figure out how to do it. So that's kind of a overall look at being able to delve down into finding out what that is, and taking that time to go from our head to our heart and identify what really makes us tick, what makes us happy.
I think, yeah, absolutely. And I think I've taken myself through a process of figuring out what I was passionate about, and then, you know, turning that into my life purpose and my mission. And one of the things that really helped me was to take some time out. So it's about taking yourself away from your day-to-day situation, even your environment. Totally remove yourself and just spend some time either on your own or with people that you care about, and just reflect, you know. And I found that when I did that and I stepped back and I really started to think about what I was passionate about, even asking questions like, what lights my soul, you know, what makes me feel energized, what makes me feel excited, you know, asking yourself some really quite basic questions. But what comes out of that process is quite enlightening. And I know that doing that process on a regular basis totally changed the direction of my life.
It's just reaffirming, and it's like when it keeps coming up the same and going, okay, you know, what happens if I actually listen to that?
Exactly. Yeah, and listen to it. Actually listen to it.
What if I actually have the courage, and that's why I talk about the courage to then jump into it. And what does that look like? And it's okay if we don't know exactly what it looks like, because when we're on track, when we're on path, when we're on purpose, the right pieces come together to make it happen. We start, like, seriously, when we can say, it's funny, but to be able to say no to other things, to make the space to allow that to happen is really key. And when you're aware, that takes you to a whole other level too.
I think it's fundamental, that space and that time.
Yeah.
I think it totally shapes, you know, how you move forwards. And I know that we have a number of viewers that are tuning in to this summit who they're potentially either in jobs or they're working for themselves. And the one key thing that people come to me and say is, I just don't know where I'm headed. I don't know what I'm passionate about, and I'm kind of stuck in a rut. I don't really know what to do. What advice would you give to those people?
Well, and you touched on too, it's like taking the time to, because it's so easy to get stuck in a place and all of a sudden another year's gone by, and it's like, you know, taking that time, exactly what you said, is kind of removing yourself for that environment for a bit. Don't be so hard on ourselves too, because it's like, I need to get it. But to give ourselves that space, I actually start off my mastermind groups with a retreat, and it's in this spectacular environment too, where you just kind of get away. And it's like the place that we go to is absolutely inspiring. And it's just walking in there, just taking the time to slow down and not beating ourselves up because we don't get it right away, because it might not come right away too. But to take that time and kind of go, listen. And then once we do identify it too, honestly, creating the resource system around us to help us step into it, because it's not going to be easy to just make that shift. Some people it is. Some people it's just like, hell yeah, here I go. Some people it's like, yeah, but it's like, it's scary. Oh, how do I do that? And we'll question ourselves through the process too. Like, we'll be like, oh, is this really it? So to have that reassuring support system around you that really understands, and having someone that you can share it with, because earlier I said we all those sort of things. And when we can shift out of what we think we should be doing as opposed to like really what our heart sings and go, oh, I feel fulfilling. There's parts of that aren't, how do I want to say this? When we make that choice to live that decision, there are going to be parts that aren't, it's not all heyday, but I'm saying there's challenging parts in it too, right? But it's like, it's worth it when that's where it's supposed to be, as opposed to, oh, forget it. That's when you kind of know. It's like checking in going, yeah, I would still go through that to get there because I know that's really makes me sing. And that's really what I want to be doing. So
absolutely.
So to have that environment and support to help us do it. Like I look at getting to the Olympics, like no one gets to the podium alone. No one gets to where they're going alone. And who wants to? Like, it's like, it's a lot more fun when you're able to share what it is, find those people. I lately joke around. My oldest brother once said, I was going out with this person he wasn't very fond of. He goes, Michelle, there are fountains and there are drains. Like,
that's brilliant.
When you get in touch with what that is and surround ourselves with those fountains, because there will be the drains, and some people do not realize that they're actually the drains, and that's their protective mechanism, because they can't see what you see or feel yet. So that's they might not even know that they're doing that, and try and pull you back to where their security place is.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So, like,
absolutely.
That would be the second biggest thing is, one, identifying, and then secondly, to keep that fire going and surround yourself with those fountains that are going to help you do that.
And that reminded me then, something I talk about quite a lot is surrounding yourself with a positive sphere of influence. So it is those people, those fountains, rather than the drains. And I think when you do surround yourself with those people, especially when you're in the process of defining what you're passionate about and discovering your passion, it can make a really big impact. Because if you've got people that are constantly saying, well, you're not very good at that, or all the other negative things that people say, then you're going to get sucked into that, and you're not going to be able to really follow your passion if you've got those people around you. So it's about figuring out who those people are that are drains and who those people are that are the fountains, and surrounding yourself more with the fountains than with the drains.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
And realizing, what we're capable of doing is far more. I'll share another story if we have time to, about my kids being like a major influence and me seeing, that's one of them back there.
Are they going to get, if you share, are they going to kill us?
Maybe. I'll share a couple stories really quickly. I don't know what our time is like, but years ago we had gone through a challenging time financially, like literally lost everything, started over again. And I was pregnant with our fourth baby. So it was every stress you could imagine at once happened. And ended up having to sell our house, and we're getting our heads above water. And I remember driving my kids to school. And when I told you I grew up in a blended family, like my parents were extreme resourceful. We did a lot of amazing things growing up. My mom had worked for the airlines. That's the only way we had ever traveled. Could you imagine traveling with 10 kids? And we'd pick a destination, go stand by and have a race to get there. We were the first amazing race. So anyway, when then fast forward this a few years ago later, when were recovering from, probably one of the most challenging times in our marriage, having a challenging time. It's just like, okay, getting out the other side of that. And like I say, I was driving my kids to school, and I thought, okay, let's change the environment. They started a fight in the backseat of the car.
As they do.
Yeah, as they do. And I go, okay, so let's plan a family trip. We haven't done anything for a couple of years, and where would you guys want to go? They were 10, 8, 6, and 2 at that time. And where do you think they're going to want to go at that age? What would be an ideal place?
Disneyland.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're going to want to go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to go to Mexico. My birth dad lives in a little fishing village down there, like 6 months of the year. And we had gone years before, and where he lives, there's little shanties right behind where he lives. And they had, met the kids there that have, nothing they're playing with. They had brought a soccer ball, etc. And
Yeah.
in the car, the kids go, we'd like to go to Mexico. And if we do, Mom, can we
Wow.
get some toys for the kids? And what if we got some of our friends to do that? And it's like,
Wow.
well, what if we all just shared what we have? There wouldn't be anybody without. And then they just kept going. And then I'm dropping them off at school, and the oldest one, Alyssa, she goes, Mom, you know what? We're going to need a plane.
Like, yeah, I can get one.
So yeah. So then I got home, and she had found this CD of Billy Gilman, who was on Oprah years ago. And he was 12 years old, and he had written a song, One Voice, some kids have and some kids don't, and some of us are wondering why. Mom won't watch the news at night. There's too much making her cry. 1,000 prayers, a million words. 1,000 words, a million prayers, one voice was heard. And she said, Mom, we can call it a gift of love. And I'm like, wow, we planted the seed about this. Now they're talking about doing this. And so then it's like, I don't know how, but this is going to happen. And phoned a friend of ours who is with the airlines and said, the kids have this idea. Come on in and present it to them. So imagine they're 10, 8, 6,
No
and 2.
way.
They presented their idea to 4 executives of the airline, and they turned around and said, you have a plane. And I went, what? Like, they literally,
Crikey. Wow.
yeah, like crazy. And it's like they took the plane out of circulation for 36 hours. So from the time of the fight in the backseat of the car to this plane, we ended up having, we had 70 children ambassadors from 22 schools. The phone was ringing. This is about my daughter going to Mexico with yours. I go, well, yeah. And then next thing, not even knowing how it was all going to come together, we had another one of my friends whose husband worked in Mexico, and she had 4 kids as well, and said, we're going to do this. Do you guys want to be part of it? And their company did a bunch of work down in Mexico. So they set up for us all the orphanages and special needs schools and whatnot that we went to. And so these kids collected, like these 70 kids collected 3,000 packages amongst all their friends of love toys. It was about something that they could do.
Yeah.
It was about something that meant something to them. Gently worn shoes and then school supplies. And they hand delivered these 3,000 packages to kids all through Mexico, and then came back as ambassadors and shared with their friends what they had done as a team. So I go like, just seeing that, not knowing how it was going to come together, but just knowing their vision was so much bigger than, and when it is that, when there's that magic behind it, it's incredible what can happen. When I talk about inspiring possibilities, the face of possibilities, actually, the kid in us has less boundaries on what we see as possible. And as we get older, that changes about, oh no, you can't really do that, or that's not possible. So it's getting back and tapping into what is that if anything was possible, what could you do? And you figure out how to make it happen.
And that was just pure passion, wasn't it? Pure passion.
And it was amazing, the miracles that happen when you're on purpose and on point and on passion, and you're doing it for the right reasons. The right things come together. And it was so amazing because for my kids, it was amazing inspiration to watch that and kind of go, they never felt they were without, going through the challenges that we were going through at that point in time. They never felt like they were without, and they wanted to share what they had. So as a parent, it was just going, and as a person going, counting the blessings that we have, even though it might not be where we want it to be at that point. So when we're grateful for what we do have, then it's almost that fuel, to kind of go, anyway, some of the best lessons I've learned from my kids, seriously.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That it really hits you how powerful, well, the whole story in itself, but back to passion, it just shows you how strong and how powerful it can be, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. It really does. You can move mountains when you have that much passion, and you did. you got a plane out of the air for 36 hours. How did you do that?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Fabulous. So how about, right, let's say that you've found out your passion. How do you keep on track with it?
Well, and it's been, when I was talking about that earlier, like that accountability, just doing something every day that you feel like you're moving towards that, the decisions that we make on a daily basis, and taking care of ourselves through the process. I keep going back to that, but and that was one of my key things that came up for me too, is um, in an unselfish way, and it is unselfish if we don't take care of ourselves first, to be able to drive that passion cannot be, so it's like, that's why I talk about, nap, snacking, and playing. Take care of ourselves so that we're strong, because living our passion, like, yes, it's very fulfilling, but it also will challenge us. It will challenge us to go to places that we've not been before, to step in, to let go of things that we have been hanging on to, old beliefs that have not helped us before, and create new ones that will help support that. So how do we keep moving forward in that? It's like every day having something, again, and having that support system around us that's going to help take us through that. That's why I'm so passionate about working with my mastermind groups and helping them see, what it is. And when they go through those challenges, to kind of say, okay, what do we need to work through here? And, yes, you can do this. We all need cheerleaders, right? Not just to say how great we are, not just to say how great we are, but give us a swift kick in the butt when we need it. Hey, wait a minute. This is what you said. Check back in. Is this really it? Yeah. Okay. Well, then come on. We can do this. And celebrating those accomplishments every day, big or little, whatever they are, big or little accomplishments every day, celebrate them.
Fabulous ideas there. Thank you. Yeah. I know that's going to be really powerful for a lot of people, those bits of nuggets that you gave us there. Tell me what your thoughts are on overcoming challenges.
And again, it's those little steps at a time. Just like I always say, confidence, where do we get confidence? Confidence comes from doing. Like, as soon as you kind of go, and it's those fears, like we're born with 2 fears and the rest are learned. Our fears are loud noises and falling, and the rest are learned. And as fears come up, when we can move through them, not that fear will ever go away, but or it's getting it to a manageable level. But our confidence comes when we do that. We go, oh man, okay, I did it. If I can do that, then I can do this. Yeah. If I can do that, then I can do this. And that's why I talk about celebrating those accomplishments. I don't have it with me here. It's upstairs, but I have a little trophy. It's about this big, and it literally sat by my Olympic medal, because I would have never in a million years got to that level without. It was my most improved trophy from my second and I was so bad. And it's like, getting that, that's probably one of my most cherished possessions, because it kind of said, wow, like, if I could do that, then maybe I can do this.
Absolutely. Wow.
And so it's like, getting through those challenges, celebrate when we do. And that will start to build our confidence. And when we're stuck in the middle of that challenge too, and I keep going back to it, make sure that we're taking care of ourselves so we have the strength to do it too, and have that support system around us to do it too.
Your health and well-being is fundamental. It's one of the core things that I talk about. And, if you don't have that, you're going to really struggle to overcome anything, Imagine when you feel poorly. You can't do anything when you feel poorly. So, why not take care of yourself and prioritize yourself so you can overcome anything that stands.
And it's so key. I share, like, when I finished swimming, that transition was really, really difficult to go through that. I gained 40 pounds the first year I finished swimming. And that was really hard, because you're used to being in a bathing suit, being judged, and it compounded. Like, I was so, I got into not a good place mentally, physically, emotionally. And it was until I stopped beating myself up about it and did that one step at a time to work on being healthy, not being obsessed with, everything that I thought that I needed to be. And who I was and what it was that, made me tick. And taking that one little step at a time, and taking care of myself in a healthy way instead of a beating up way. Right?
Yeah.
So I know that your journey is quite remarkable too, and that you identify with me too on how important that is, and not being again about obsession, but really, okay, stop. What am I putting into myself mentally, physically, and emotionally,
Yeah,
and taking
absolutely.
care of ourselves.
Absolutely. Talk to us about digging deep. I know you've been through quite a lot of quite tough times. So
Mm-hmm.
talk to us about digging deep.
Um,
How do you do that? Where does that come from?
how do you get up off the floor when you feel like you can't?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
let's say you've hit rock bottom. Okay, how do you pick yourself up?
give yourself the time first, because it's okay to hit those places. That's real. That's real. And to say, oh, I'm not feeling this, is denial.
Yeah.
It's identify and to be able to go, yeah, I am feeling this, and what's it coming from, and how do I change my environment to help me get out of that place.
Yeah.
I'm going to share a story because it's a really powerful one that I think will link into this really well. But like I said, I've learned so many great lessons from my kids. That my daughter, when she was in grade 6, they did a science test and a science project. Remember the science projects that you do?
Yeah.
And she did it on the effects of positive and negative thoughts on our energy. And I thought, how are you going to do that? And she did it in 2 parts. One was kinesthetic, where when you say something, if you were to do a strength test, energy test,
Yeah.
and pushing on your arm, when you said something positive as opposed to when you said something negative, your physiology actually changes.
Yeah.
The second part she did, she planted bean seeds, and she did a control group, a positive group, and a negative group. And the control she left alone. The positive, she said positive things to every day, and they all had the same soil, the same sunlight, everything. She said positive things to every day. And the negative, she took them to the bathroom and yelled at 3 times a day. I hate doing that part, but it was amazing to see the difference with each of the plants. Like the negative grew about 0.5 centimeters a day. The control grew about 1 centimeter a day, and the positive grew about 2 centimeters a day. And I have a picture of this somewhere. But
No way.
Yes, and the amount of leaves that were on it, everything. And so you think, well, that's a plant. The energy we say to ourselves, what are we saying? To each other, what are we saying? So when we get in those down places, yes, to acknowledge where we're at, but it's like, if we keep feeding ourselves those negative things, think about that plant. Think about what it does for us. So it's like literally the first thing is changing our environment, changing our physiology, getting out of that place, and even getting up to go for a walk and clear our head and be able to make that space for good, better thoughts, to get in, to ask ourselves better questions. Think about that plant. What kind of things are we saying to ourselves, and what kind of things are we continuing to feed that down place? Like I said, it's okay to identify and figure out what it is, but then stop, and what are we feeding it? Are we, and the other thing that my daughter said, she goes, I know we all have totally full days, and we have so much going on, and it's sometimes we feel we can't fit in anymore. And I remember I had one of those days like that when I was like rushing and late, and I'm in the garage trying to head out, and like this veins about to pop out of my head. Daughter opens the door and she goes, "Mommy," she goes, "remember, I love you, and remember, the energy you put out is the environment you create."
You're like, oh.
I know, like, whoa, that's profound. So when you get into those places, okay, what energy are we adding to it? Again, not to be in denial, but kind of go, okay, this is where I am. What energy do I want to add? The biggest, fastest way is to change our environment and our physiology. Get up and move out of that place. Get up and change what we're doing at that point.
And don't you find when you do that, automatically your thoughts lift? Because you're not, you've physically moved, you've changed your state. It's almost like you break the state, and then your mind starts thinking different things, and it takes you off onto a much more positive note.
Yeah, exactly. And then doing that repeatedly, like doing those positive things repeatedly, getting yourself to do that repeatedly, then it builds up that strength too.
Definitely. And I think when I think of digging deep, the thing that I always think is about changing the way that you think. So if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, that's, you're going to attract all those negative situations, people, emotions, all of that kind of stuff. But the minute that you start to change the way that you think, and like you said, move your body, move out of the environment that you're in, put yourself in a different environment, even if it's just for a short time, you will notice that everything changes. Your mindset, your mood, literally everything about it. And I think that story that you just said is a perfect example of how you can dig deep and how you change your state and your situation. So thank you for sharing that. We've learned a lot from your children today. Please thank them on our behalf. So listen, we know that your book's coming out, which we're all hugely excited about, and you're going to keep us up to date on that, aren't you, on social media? And fabulous. So I'm going to put the links to all of your social media channels and your website in the box below, which I'm assuming will be below here. Okay. So I'll put all those there for people to connect with you and to further discussions with you. Now, you mentioned you have a gift for all of our viewers. Talk to us about that.
I put together my top 10, because I get asked this question a lot. So I put together my top 10 inspirational quotes and thoughts. So I would love to, gift that to all of your listeners, and I'll just share a couple of them on there. I'll show you. It'll look like this.
Beautiful.
And, it is like the first one that I have there was a really profound one. One of my coaches told me at the start, before our first world championship ever that we went to, and we were training 6 to 8 hours a day, and she stopped me in the middle of practice. She said, "How would you do it if you were already a world champion?" And so I want to put that as one of the first thoughts for you. How would you do it if you were already living your passionate life?
Love it.
How would you do it? And the next one that I have on there, and we were just talking about that, about challenges, because there will be challenges. And one of the things that kept me going all the time, was one of the quotes was, "Good timber does not grow with ease. The stronger the wind, the stronger the trees." And when I came up to challenges, knowing that this is just making me stronger. This is making me stronger. So it's like how our perspective of how we look at things. So I have my top 10. Actually, it's a few more than 10, because
that's 10. All right.
Well, I will send that to you.
That is fabulous, and I'll make sure that goes out along with this recording to make sure everybody's got a copy of that. So to finish off, Michelle, thank you first of all so very much for all of your fabulous insights and stories, and it's been fabulous to talk to you. So just to finish off, what message would you like to leave people with about discovering their passion?
I just encourage you to take the time for yourself, and just kind of take the time to check in where you are right now. And, life is not about it being perfect, but check in and kind of go, am I really happy with where I am? Is this making me feel fulfilled and on purpose? And even if we take a part of what we're doing and kind of say, identify, what is it that gives me those goosebumps? What is it that I feel like? And then to go through that process, and, you can reach out. I would take a group through doing the passion test if you want to do that at some point. But, take that time to kind of go, what makes me tick, and be able to prioritize those things for yourself, to really feel like in the end, you look back and you go, yeah, that was awesome. That was really awesome. An awesome journey that we can do together.
Absolutely.
Doing together too, it really is.
It absolutely is. So thank you so much. As I said, I'll put down below all the links so people can get in touch with you, especially to take forward the passion test, because I know how powerful that is. So if you are interested, the links will be below. And yes, once again, thank you so much for all of your insights, and it's been fantastic to talk to you. Thanks once again, Michelle, and we'll speak soon.
Okay, thanks, Gina. You're so awesome. I love what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
Hi, it's Gina, checking in with you. I hope you not only enjoyed that conversation that we just had, but it also got you thinking about your life and the direction it is heading. The biggest stumbling block that I see over and over and over again is that people aren't clear on where they're heading. They don't know what it is that they want, and they get that feeling of, is there more to life than this? Without a clear direction, you will feel unfocused, overwhelmed, and out of control. I know, because I've been there. Here's what I know about people. The odds say that most people will do the same thing next year as they did this year. If you're ready to have 2016 be different than 2015, what's holding you back? From my experience, it is you. You're the only thing holding yourself back, be it consciously or subconsciously. So let's talk about how we can work together. I work with determined, strong, persistent, and confident women to gain clarity on their vision and their purpose and to define their direction. Here are the benefits that I think you will take away when we work together. The Discover Your Direction course is 6 sessions over 3 months. We're going to meet every 2 weeks because in my experience it takes a minimum of 3 months for you to be able to take something new and begin to put it into place and to start to see some changes. When we work together, I will take you through a formula to define what it is that you want in your business and in your life. We'll delve into mastering those situations that knock you off your feet and off your path. We'll explore being more skillful at handling difficult situations. We'll gain clarity on your vision and where you're heading, as well as starting to uncover your purpose. And then we will create a toolkit for you to ensure that you're focused, you're productive, and you're taking steps to achieve what it is that you want. In those 6 sessions, I have a formula that we're going to follow. But listen, these are your calls. And so if we break that formula because that's where you need to go, then that's what we're going to do. And someplace around session 4, we're going to start to assess how you're feeling and what's going on, and to look at the changes that you're sensing, if not the changes that you've already begun to put into place. And we're going to talk about that a little bit in session 4 and session 5, and certainly in session 6. And if at the end of 6 sessions you don't even see a little glimmer of light, despite your best effort and the work that you've put in, I will give you your money back. So the worst thing that can happen is you spend a few hours with me and nothing changes. The best thing that happens is we spend a few hours together and you're on your way to where you want to go. If we could work together and put you on the path to the outcome that you're looking for, which is to have a stronger purpose in your life, to understand where you're going, and to have a plan to get you there. If we can do that in 6 sessions to put you on the road, are you ready to begin to do that? If you are, click the link in the box below to apply for the Discover Your Direction course. Go ahead, check it out, the link's there in the box, Discover Your Direction course, apply now, and I look forward to working with you. Bye for now.